It's first pitch. I'm the Prez. It's Monday. It's May. Closing in on my 50th birthday, but that's a different story. I know. I don't even go there. Tony Finn with us. How are you, Tony? How was your weekend?
It was Mother's Day weekend, so with my mother still being with us, and certainly will outlive me and my wife, it was a pretty good weekend, actually. You?
Yeah, no complaints. I went out for lunch with my mom, and then we went to a movie called King Bibi. Story, basically a documentary on Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. Will be the longest serving Prime Minister in Israeli history. And it was an incredible movie. I mean, the guy's just such a stud. And you actually, there was so many parallels between him and how he's campaigned and what he's done social media-wise, and your fearless leader, Mr. Trump. Anyway, I enjoyed it a lot, and that's really it. Watched the Raps game last night. That was just crazy, man. I mean, that was one of the first times where I won either a bet or my team won, and I didn't jump for joy. I was just like this.
Yeah. I didn't. I watched the last 2 minutes of that game. I was busy doing some stuff, and then I happened to be out on the patio, and I turned the TV on and said, "Hey, perfect 2 minutes to go." This is my response when he made the shot. I was like, "Wow, that really went in," and that was the end of it. You know,
4 bounces, unbelievable.
Yeah.
You're on a 5-0 baseball run. I'm on a 3-0 baseball run. Both of us are up for our customers in baseball, as we expected. Easiest sport to bet in the world. And with that said, take that lightly because nothing's easy. But something has to be easier than something else.
Yes, something has to be easier than the NBA. The NBA's been just a brutal. I haven't been able to conquer it this year at all.
Well, you know what? The NBA is the toughest. I mean, there's no sport tougher to bet than the NBA, and it's no difference in playoff times. I mean, how many games have I lost or you've lost where, you know, it came down to losing by fouls, and we were just sitting there dumbfounded on why the hell they even fouled?
Oh, yeah. There's been that is absolutely fact. This year especially. It seems like that, obviously, because it's this year. But you're right.
I mean, nothing was worse than that Indiana loss way back when I think they were up by 2 or 3 with like 20 seconds to go, and they couldn't even cover 6.
I know. Oh, yeah. I remember.
And that's the NBA, man. That stuff doesn't happen in baseball. I mean, yeah, you're going to have under 9, and it'll be 1-1 in the 7th, and you're going to lose. But it ain't because of some idiotic fouling with no time on the clock for no reason other than habit.
Agreed. And baseball it's a completely different animal, without question. In many cases, you're going to know. You can know. That's what I like about baseball too, is a lot of betting, and I do a lot of that here in Nevada with the Will Hill app. There are certain pitchers, certain teams you can just watch for 3 innings, and you have a really good if you know the tendency and the trends and the way teams are, that you have some favor betting, making live in-game bets. Yeah.
We all do that, my friend. Tony, 7 games on the board today. It's first pitch. We're going to take them all apart. Listeners, check out Morning Joe and the Pro. Teddy and I look at the NBA. Both series is coming up, as well as both games for Tuesday and Wednesday. And Alex B. Smith and Andrew McGinnis and I on Puck Time take a look at tonight's game. The San Jose Sharks are hosting the St. Louis Blues. Tony, let's get right into it. The New York Yankees, 24-16 on the year. Down 1 unit if you've bet them on the money line. Up 3 units if you bet them on the run line. They're hosting Baltimore, 14-26 on the year. So check this out, Tony. And this really solidifies why betting value in baseball is the key and not betting who's going to win or lose games. The Yankees are 24-16. They're down 1 unit. Baltimore is 14-26, and they're down half a unit.
Yes.
You have lost less money betting the Orioles this year than the mean, mighty New York Yankees.
Yeah.
And now we find the Yankees at minus 220. God, there's a 247 on the board. The over and under is 8.5. Baltimore won their last game 5-1 against the Angels, but they have lost 4 of their last 5. And the Yankees just keep rolling, dude. 7-1 against Tampa Bay, won the series 2-1, won the series 3-1 against Seattle. This team is just getting it done all the time, and if they win, they are usually winning by more than 1 run. Pitcher we don't know about, not much on the mound. Losiga.
Yes.
4.5 ERA in 14 innings pitched against Hess. 1-4 on the season and a 5.5 ERA. Tony, I'm going over in this game.
Well, they just a caveat here. Obviously, you and I are doing this live. I'm watching the live scoreboard, but they just pulled all the numbers down. As I looked over to the left, all the numbers on this game just came down. So there's something has happened. We won't probably know until after we're done doing the shoot. But in a nutshell, if you're going to play this game, 9.5. I hate that hook on the 9, but you're right. Over. Hess is.
I got 8.5, Tony.
Oh, you got 8.5? Well, then something's changed. And again, I'm showing the opener was 9.5. Everything's disappeared off my live board from WagerTalk, so we'll find out. But Hess is he gets the ball tonight. His game that kept him going in the starting rotation and won in Baltimore, which is a pedestrian starting rotation, was a game that he pitched in early April against Toronto, where he pitched 6.1 solid innings. Since that game, he's 0-4 with a 7.27 ERA, and he's in the rotation because they don't have anybody healthy, and he was made relevant because of that 6.1 innings against a team, Toronto, which is very pedestrian offensively, and it's not a good measure of a pitcher's capabilities. J-Lo, you can try to pronounce that last name. I just call him J-Lo. This is a second start coming up from AAA, and he's got command issues. He's a pretty savvy kid. He's been up and down quite a few times, Prez, but he's got a 14% walk rate. This is a game where look at the conditions, the venue, what's the wind stream in Yankee Stadium, and if you're going to venture out and step out in the middle of this game, then you definitely want to play the over. I wouldn't argue with that. I mean, if you put a gun in my head, that's what I do.
He's Tony Finn. I'm the Prez. Tony, Milwaukee on the road against Philadelphia tonight. Both of them with very similar records. Milwaukee 24-18 on the season. Philly 23-16 on the season. Milwaukee, though, 8-10 away. Tonight we have Philadelphia at minus 150, give or take. The over and under is either 8 or 8.5. Milwaukee's lost their last 2 games against the Cubbies, both close games, but before that they won 7 of their last 9. Philadelphia's won their last 2 and 4 of their last 5. They did, however, beat Kansas City, which doesn't say much. Nola on the mound tonight. Some games good, most games bad so far this season. Although he is 3-0, he's getting a lot of run support. 4.5 ERA against Peralta, who is a disaster. 6.75 ERA, 2-1 on the season. You know, I look at this game, Teddy, and I see an 8. And if Milwaukee, look, they've really kept teams down. I mean, if you go down their last 9 games before they let Colorado put 11 on them, this team has put up a couple of ducks, 1s, 2s. I mean, their pitching has just been amazing. But Philadelphia hits, man. And I think, again, this game is leaning to the over for me.
This is a game, quickly, we don't know. They won't confirm it. But I think tonight is an opener for Peralta. I think they're going to throw Peralta in there for a short stint. This coming because they had that 15-inning game on Saturday, which kind of wiped out the bullpen. And then yesterday, the to make things short, this Milwaukee team is going to live and die off scoring runs. When Chacin is your opening day starter and he is your ace, a guy that has underlying peripherals that are middling at best, there's no way this Cubs team is going to win this division by call me crazy, by maybe 10 games when all is said and done. They're solid offensively, good bullpen, guys like Lester, savvy starters who know how to pitch out of trouble. Tonight, Nola, like you mentioned, much better last 3 games. Much better. Really had a soft start to the season. Cold weather, some unfavorable, some bad luck. But in his last 18, in his last 3 starts, 17 strikeouts against 5 walks. Much more measured to what he did last year in a good season.
He's Tony. I am the Prez, and we got 5 more to go. Houston against Detroit.
Yeah.
Here's another typical scenario like this Baltimore Yankees. Houston 26-15, up 2 units.
Yes.
Detroit 18-20, up 4 units. Detroit's at home. They're a plus 135 dog. The over and under is 8.5. Houston is absolutely rolling right now. They've won 5 in a row. And Detroit just split with Minnesota, 2 games each. Matthew Boyd has pitched outstanding this year. 4-2 record, 50 innings pitched, a 2.86 ERA, and a whip under 1. He's going against Peacock, 4.3 ERA. Tony, I look at this and I think to myself, I don't want to bet Houston here. I mean, I don't want to bet Detroit here. Houston's clearly a better team, and it's tough to overthink this. But the bottom line is, I think Detroit is really live. I think they got the better pitcher on the mound. And I think Houston, being on a 5-game run, might be coming down to earth. It's a road game for them after they were at home for the last 7. I think this might be a tough spot for Houston and some value on the Tigers.
This is a pitching mismatch. Boyd is night and day, head and shoulders a better pitcher than Peacock. Peacock's been forced in the starting role because Houston did not re-sign Keuchel, Dallas Keuchel. And conversely, this is a mismatch in the batter's box. Houston is probably one of the best teams, especially if you look at WRC, as far as runs above league average. They actually, as of 2 weeks ago, were, at that point in time in the season, Lawrence, the best in the history of baseball. So here's the issue. I agree with you 100%. Houston is this really is a game where Detroit is a pick 'em at best. And anytime you can get plus 140 on a dog with a guy pitching like Boyd, you do it.
And he's pitched well the last 2 games.
Yes.
Peacock pitched great in the last game. 9-0 win. Yeah, I was just about to say that exactly.
Yeah.
Los Angeles Angels 19-21 on the season. Minnesota 25-14. Minnesota is plus 11.5 units if you bet them on the money line. But Tony, they're only up 1 unit on the run line. Most of their games are close 1-run games. Here we find Minnesota at minus 140. The over and under is 9. The Los Angeles Angels have won 3 of their last 4. They just won the last 2 series, but those are against Baltimore and Detroit, but both on the road, dude.
Yes.
And Minnesota, they've won 5 of their last 7, but they lost to Detroit. Boreas versus Skaggs. I think, again, we've got another big pitching mismatch here. I mean, Boreas, 53 innings pitched, Tony. 6-1 on the season, under 1 whip, 2.53 ERA. And I understand that we're paying money to bet him today, but I don't think we're paying much. I think Minnesota is the play here, minus 137 to minus 140.
Skaggs is a second start off of an ankle injury. Last time he pitched very poorly in Detroit, got beat up. Now, it's his left ankle, which is his, as a left-handed pitcher, is your push-off ankle. It doesn't matter. Any pitcher both has to have a good landing ankle and a good push-off ankle. Barrios, as you mentioned, here's the issue with him. His ERA and his whip do not are not equal to his XFIP, which is his underlying peripherals as a whole. He's pitched to a 250 BABIP ball, batting average of balls hit in play, which is about 50 points below his league average, and he's pitching to a 90% strand rate. He's subject to a batted ball luck in a lot of cases. So in this game, when I see Barrios, there's a couple guys tonight we'll mention, I almost automatically go over. Minnesota is not dependent on their pitching staff. This team can hit the baseball. They got to score runs to win. This may be a night where at home they actually take care of the Angels. I wouldn't argue with you.
The White Sox 18-21 hosting Cleveland 21-18. Cleveland down 3 units if you bet them on the year. The White Sox up 1 unit. 65% of the money is coming in on Cleveland right now. The home team is plus 135-ish. The over and under anywhere between 8.5 and 9. Cleveland just beat Oakland. But really have not been playing great ball. The White Sox on a 2-game win streak and hitting the ball nicely. Lopez versus Justin Bieber.
Okay.
Lopez,
Shame.
man, 6.38 ERA, Teddy.
Yeah.
For me, look, I want to play Cleveland. I'm just not going to take them at minus 150 in this game, and you can't play them on the money line, on the run line, because they really haven't been performing on the run line all year. This game's a straight pass for the Prez.
Mr. Lawrence, this is a game where Ronaldo Lopez is the play. His surface numbers are very ugly, as you mentioned, 6.38, 1.75. However, he has a really nice strikeout rate. This Cleveland team, as you mentioned, it has some critical injuries, offensive key injuries early in the season that have really lingered, and they strike out 26% of the time. And you have a Lopez who strikes out batters 25% of the time, and Cleveland's performing 28% below the league average offensively against a Chicago team that's very capable. Much more capable offensively right now, as healthy and young, and we don't care, free swing and let's go for it type of an attitude. I'll take Chicago at home plus 150, going plus 140 now.
Pittsburgh against Arizona. Pittsburgh 20-17 on the season, up 5 units for bettors. Arizona 22-19, up 6 units for bettors. A ton of money coming in on Arizona. 72% of the money on this team tonight. Arizona is minus 175. The over and under is 9. Tony Pittsburgh's won 3 in a row, 6 of their last 8 games. Mm-hmm. Arizona has lost 3 in a row and 6 of their last 8 games. Obviously these teams right now aren't heading in different directions. Huge favorite though, and I think that's because Robbie Ray is on the mound. He's 2-1 on the season. He's got a 3.3 ERA, but let's just get to the bottom line here, brother. I think the dog is very live tonight.
Kingman is an aberration. I mean, he's an enigma. This is a guy that Kingham that comes up. But his numbers are pedestrian. But here's the deal: Robbie Ray's overvalued beyond measure. The Arizona, we're close here, obviously. I get a lot of Arizona coverage. And the beat writers talk about this guy like he's the next coming of Cy Young because of his ability to strike people out. His ratios are horrendous. This game right here is, if you're blind, deaf, and know nothing about baseball, you play Pittsburgh right now. This is a value play. They may not win. It's a steam play, but that money, Robbie Ray is so rated in Arizona, cannot hit a secondary pitch.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting plus 150,
That's
brother.
Right. That's right.
You throw a little parlay in with Detroit.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a lot of jack for that.
Robbie Ray, just so our listeners know, is not trustworthy. He is so untrustworthy that when I see him, I either play against him or I'm watching.
Look, he hasn't made it through 5 innings in his last 2 games.
Correct. He did have his hard contact rate is astronomical, almost 48%, which is if you're if you're walking people with that kind of hard contact rate, guess what? You're in trouble, and that's what he does.
Seattle hosting Oakland tonight. Seattle, real free fall, Tony. I mean, this team started out better than anyone in the league. Now they are 3 games below 500. They're hosting Oakland, who's only 4 games below 500. But Oakland's been overvalued all year, almost every game. Down 7 units if you bet them on the money line. Down 9 units if you bet them on the run line. We got the home team as a short favorite, minus 122. The over and under is 9, Teddy. And Teddy, I just did Morning Joe with Teddy. Tony, Oakland just beat Cleveland 2-1. They beat Cincinnati 2-1. All of those games were at home. Seattle's lost 4 in a row in 6 of their last 7. Here's really the bottom line for me, Tony. I think we're going to see a turnaround tonight for Seattle. I think they're a very short favorite, and I think they're the team to bet.
Fires is coming off a no-hitter and is an underdog. He pitched a no-hitter, the second in his career. Here's the deal with Fires. This is a guy that at the beginning of the season had pitched a couple games where I would have said, if you have him on your fantasy roster, do whatever you can to sell him. And then that's who he is. When I see Fires, I immediately just pass him up because he's so hot and cold, so inconsistent, so difficult to read that he's a difficult guy to invest in. That said, I like the rookie for Seattle, as you mentioned, is a kid out of Japan, a left-hander with a real deceiving motion. First time Oakland's seen him, he's been really good, and he will be good the first couple times through especially division games like this. The first 2 times through, Seattle's a definite live dog at home against Fires, who figured to just absolutely flop after a no-hitter. That's what he's done. That's what he's done his whole career. That's what he does tonight, in my opinion.
He's Tony Finn. I'm the Prez. That, my friends, is First Pitch. Make sure to watch Morning Joe and the Pro with me and Teddy, and Puck Time with myself, Alex, and Andrew. Tony, we'll have you on Morning Joe, likely Wednesday. Thanks for doing this, brother. Be well and kick some serious ass tonight.
Thanks for having me. Good luck to you, too.